Hey everyone, welcome to the Weekend Extra here with Pastor Jeff and talking about God and money. Last week of the series.
Yeah.
And so talking today about building our lives either on the rock, on a solid foundation, or on the sand, shaky foundation. And a lot of just encouragement from Jesus. And then as we're unpacking it, hey, make sure that we're building on a solid foundation. But something I think would be good for us to talk about, Jeff, is when I realized that I've began to build my life on sand,
Right.
shaky foundation, and maybe the moment I'm realizing that is because things are beginning to crumble. What's some of your counsel for people when they're in that spot?
You know, I would, if you feel the sand, so to say, eroding away from your foundation, I think what Jesus would want us to do is to kind of look at the whole of our life. I think a lot of times what happens is we would look like with finances and say, the sand is eroding away. What do I need to change financially?
Yeah.
Or we'll do the same thing with like a marriage, for instance. The marriage is crumbling. What do I need to change in my marriage? And I think sometimes in the short term, those are important questions. They're like emergency questions. But it's never the real question.
Right.
The real question is, how did I start valuing the sand so much that I built a house here, right? And so all of those things are symptomatic. They're surface issues of deeper heart issues that we need to look at. And I would delve into that. And a lot of times that's where talking with a pastor or counsel, those kind of things help with it. But financially, for instance, it's never how I overextended myself. It's why I did that. And back here is the spiritual issue that drove all of this that is now collapsing around you. Yeah. And I think when you look at why Jesus talked about money so much, why the Bible addresses it, I said this weekend, money's never about money. It's about everything behind it. And I would use that as an excuse and a way and a window to the deeper issues of my life.
Yeah, and so when all that's happening, maybe there are some things I need to do immediately, but there's actually an exposure of there's more here that I need to find out.
Right. That when your house crashes in, you can look and say my life is destroyed, or you can look and say I get to do a do-over. And I think that's an important thing, because some people will try to put their broken house back together, and that never works. Or they'll do a do-over and they'll build on sand right next to their old foundation. And Jesus would look and say, pain is a gift. It's not a curse. It can be a gift. That's why we count our trials as joy, James 1 says. So I do that, and I look and say, I get to do this a second time the right way. And those are the questions I think Jesus would want us to ask.
There's redemption in that. And there's kind of like, what wisdom can I come from?
100%. There's resurrection in it, and capturing that is really, really big.
That's awesome. And one other thing, it's the last sermon in the series.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking, we go through all of these conversations on money, and even today you're just saying it's not about the money.
Right.
So what do you really hope that people take away from the entire series as a whole? What are you hoping that they got from it?
It's that money's never about money, and that when the Bible speaks about money, especially or specifically Jesus speaks about money, it says it's as a window to the soul. And so what all my checkbook does is reveal my heart. And Jesus he's not talking about financial principles. He's talking about really idols and what we love and what we trust and what we put our hope in. And so the thing I want us to take away from it is that I'm not looking to reorganize my finances. That's fine. It can be good even, to reorganize your finances. But it's really I'm repositioning my heart, and I'm making sure that Christ is Lord of my heart. He rules and reigns my heart. And when he doesn't rule and reign my money, it's a sign that he's not ruling and reigning my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Well, I think there's a lot we can get out of it, and as we keep processing it together. Thank you guys for joining us for the Weekend Extra, and we'll catch you next time.